there's a guest tonight. It's not a rumor. He's actually on his way to the Celtic Rebels' secret underground lair. We sent Jesse Ventura out to get him, so we're waiting. I guess Jesse Ventura may be roughing him up in the car or something because he's not here yet. We'll see. He should be showing up any minute. So in the meantime, I think I'm going to talk about boobs in my face. That's my memory. I just did way too many shots. So I'll get better. I'll get better. We're gonna be. What is that clicking noise coming across? Damn fire. All right, I think that should do it. So today's topic, boobs. We'll be bringing Ed on shortly to talk about that. You know, I keep telling you guys there may be something. Let's get to old business first. Old business. That's not polite. Referring to boobs as old business. I was talking to this other girl this weekend when I was all done up, and she said, "Your costume is amazing." By the way, I do it. Yes, I do Hollywood studio quality makeup for myself, and I really look good. I go as a zombie every year. Lets me fit into the populace, be one of them for a day, see how the other half lives, or the other 99%. That's for how the other 99% live. So, anyway, she said, "Your costume is amazing." I'm like, "You got boobs." She's like, "What's your point there?" I'm like, "If there was a contest right now between my costume and your boobs, you'd win. You have boobs." So, speaking of boobs, next week, let's rephrase that. I'm not sure exactly. Right now at this juncture, I may or may not do a show next week. I've done a few in a row. So my next guest will be Alex Robinson, who actually has some practical information about boobs. So yes, it is a timely topic. Going further where we touched last time about bras and other things related to one of the most important and least understood organs in the female body, and the most under attack, breasts. So you women will want to listen, and you men, I know you're going to listen anyway, because, I mean, come on, like men are going to miss out on a conversation about boobs. So I hope you guys all enjoyed your Halloween. A couple of announcements. One, I may or may not be a guest on Lee Rogers' show this Tuesday to pick up where we left off last time, kicking people in the balls. So you've earned a reprieve. Those of you who are going to be sweating it out for the next couple of nights, I guess now you'll be sweating it out for quite a while longer. Because I'm not sure when that show is going to be. Apparently, Lee's area is having some power problems, so I may or may not be on his show Tuesday. But I will be on the air with Lee to go ahead and kick a bunch of these truthers in the balls some more sometime this week. I just received a message that we got something. I can't announce it yet until I get confirmation. There may or may not be a Halloween special tomorrow night, which I would be participating in here on Oracle. So hopefully I can announce that before the show's over. It's in the works. My agents are contacting other agents, and my agents and their agents are getting some agents together, and all us agents are going to put together a really great Halloween show. Hopefully. I'll see. I've said too much already. I've said too much. So my cigarette went out. So that should be fun. You know, it is Halloween. I hope you guys have enjoyed Halloween. Speaking of Halloween, my cat just came into the house. And now she just left. Wait, I need some Halloween music here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Some Halloween music. I hope you guys have enjoyed your Halloweens. I know it's coming up tomorrow. Some of you will be doing your thing tomorrow. And I hope you've enjoyed it and disregarded all this crap that the alternative media and the conspiracy movement have been so effective at pushing. Because at one time I started wondering this myself when I first got into it. You know, all this satanic nonsense, you know, this Christian anti-NWO satanic propaganda. So I hope you guys disregarded all that and went out and had a good time. As far as holidays go, or holy days, should I say, this is probably the best one by far. So should there be a Halloween special? That's not, you'll hear a lot more of my thoughts on that, but I'm just saying, get out there, put on a costume, go talk to a girl. Hopefully she hasn't been so so programmed to the point where she can't talk back, and I've got stories to tell, so I'll save them. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Oh, and one more announcement. I'm sorry some of you aren't going to like hearing this. Some will probably like hearing this. I got rid of Lucy. I fired Lucy. I'm sorry. I had enough. She pissed me off this weekend. So I fired her. She's gone. She's gone. It was from an incident stemming from her vagina, but that's enough. You know, me and Lucifer have parted ways. I think she's not here today. I'll probably bring her back. I don't know. But yeah, me and Lucifer are not talking right now. I'm a little upset with her. I'm sure she's upset with me too. She might have reason to be. I don't know. Yeah, Lucifer, Christians rejoice. Celtic Rebel is no longer in league with Lucifer. Speaking of that, I've had a few incidents of late remind me of what it means to be a man, which is a topic this show's been focused on as of late. So expect more on that. Probably picking that up next show. Anyway, I'm going to try to get Dallas in the house. Dallas in the house. Let's see if I can unbar the door now that I don't have Lucifer here to allow him in. I'll have to go get the door myself. So let me try to see if he's made his way through the labyrinth and found my top secret undisclosed location, and we'll bring him on. And I just want to say that yeah, there is a chat room. Dallas will be participating. It's a moderated chat room, and it's moderated for good reason, because apparently too many people are too stupid to understand that there's some basic guidelines which are right there that were linked right off the chat room. Respect each other, respect my guests, respect the host, respect yourselves, which might be asking too much of some people. But those of you who do participate in the chat room and don't mind that, or don't mind having your stupid comments and your trolling curtailed, will enjoy it. So that's at thecelticrebel.chatango.com, and I see Dallas is participating in it, so you can talk to him during the breaks. And I guess some people don't even know I have a blog out there. It's celticrebel.wordpress.com. Coincides with the show. Weekly articles published dealing with the show, adding images. So let me see if I can go ahead and bring Ed in here. And he should be walking through the door any second now. Any second. I hear footsteps. I hear footsteps. Let's see.
I'm here.
You're here?
I'm here.
All right. Welcome,
yeah,
Dallas.
I'm used to hearing that. That and disclaimers.
So, Ed, what do you prefer? Should I call you DallasGoldBug? Should I call you by your name? I know you've put it out there, so I'm not revealing any information.
Yeah.
What would you prefer?
Whatever you're comfortable with, it's fine with me. Ed or Dallas.
I'll call you Ed.
Okay.
Okay. I could give you a proper introduction, but I don't really stick to regular radio format. I'm just going to go ahead and just say, can I say your name?
Sure.
Oh yeah, you're Ed. You put it out there. You know, you're Ed Chiarini. You have a web presence under DallasGoldBug. YouTube channel gets lots of views. You've made a lot of waves, and basically, what I see you doing, and I want you to expand on this, is one of the things I've done on this show is, for quite a while, I've talked about how a lot of the news that we see is not real. It's not news. It's basically scripted garbage that's meant to influence public opinion, make certain events happen. And what I think you do is you're out there proving that.
Yes, I would say that's correct. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is, you know, I'm not using hearsay or people's testimony or
are you hold on a second.
Things that I've read or things like that.
I'm getting a little interference. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. Just getting a little interference. You guys in the chat room, let me know if you guys are getting that. I mean, there's a bit of a delay here, but let us know if you're hearing that well or if it's on my end. So please continue.
Okay, yeah, the photographic evidence that I've been using comes from I was doing an image search one day for a different project, and I stumbled across some Picasso web albums, and those web albums happened to have about close to 5,000 photographs, and when I looked into those photographs, I recognized some of the people, and those people had to do with the Giffords event. And then as I continued on with those photographs, I saw that there was a lot more of the individuals that had to do with other events that were in the news. So I basically stumbled onto it and could now prove that these people were together before these incidents happened, and now we find out that they're family members. So basically proving it that way.
And one of the things, if you want to expand on this, what I see you doing is you do analysis of facial features, particularly the ears is one of the areas you focus on. And from what I understand, I just want to say that for some of the listeners who might not be familiar with your work, that apparently the ear is like a fingerprint.
Yes, the ear is actually almost better than a fingerprint from all the studies and things that have been done. And actually, the federal agencies have been looking into it more than fingerprints because it's easier to use. And the fact is that it's more reliable than fingerprints. Plus the fact that it's less intrusive when it comes to collecting that evidence. And you can collect the evidence from a distance, and a person doesn't have to be willingly participating in it, if you say. But also the good thing about it is the ear doesn't move when it comes to expressions, so it stays the same. And over time, the soft tissue around the outer edge will possibly change depending upon characteristics of the skin, but the inner ear stays the same. So it's a very reliable way of identifying somebody over a period of time.
One of the things I did learn early on by looking at your work, I've looked at it for a while now. People have alerted me to some of your videos. They said you should check this guy out, and eventually I get around to answering my emails or looking at them. And yeah, I thought that was very interesting where you pointed out something, because I find this grabs people's attention. The point you make, which is when people do get arrested, you have this custom, what we see is the mug shots. Everybody out there is familiar with mug shots. And what they do is they take the straight-on face where you're holding the little tablet under you, and then the side profile.
Correct.
And you point out that the profile is not really so they can, look at the outline of your nose or see you from the side. It's because they want a clear shot of your ear. And I think that's, if I've seen correctly, I guess that's right, because when they take women from the side profile, they always have their hair back.
Correct. And that's the thing about, but that is the advantage and a disadvantage of it. The ear, when it is covered by hair, that is a problem. But yeah, they do want to get the ear when they have the identification pictures, because the profile of the face can change. People can have surgery. People have accidents and nose changes, so the profile really isn't that important. I mean, it can help, but it's not important. It's the ear that they're really looking for.
So, anything else? Oh, yeah, you have for anybody not familiar, want to go ahead and tell us your website, anything else that you're on your YouTube channel, so where people can find out more about you.
Sure, it's WellAware1, and that's the number 1.com, and the place to find me on YouTube is just youtube.com/DallasGoldBug, and that's one word.
All right, well, Ed, let me inform you of something. This show, sometimes rather than call it the Rebel Path, I thought about renaming it to Talking Points Radio. This is probably one of the most listened to broadcasts of hosts out there that are looking for material, and the things I talk about inevitably get circulated through all the alternative media to an extent where I'm not just boasting. There's people that just point this out to me, whatever topics I bring up, eventually start making their way around. So I want you to know that anything you say today will reverberate far and wide through the alternative media.
Well, I hope so.
So anything you want to remind yourself of in case you forget it? I don't know how your memory is. I guess you said you have a photographic memory for faces.
Faces, and it's a real particular thing. It's not when I meet somebody in person. It's faces that are in a two-dimensional form, like a picture. For some reason, the picture sticks in my head, but when I meet somebody in person, it doesn't really stick as well. So this is something I've had in my head for a long time. I wish I could have tuned into it when I was in school, but it really has become really a good gift lately, of course.
Oh, well, no, school's not meant to encourage you to work out your own individual gifts. It's meant to make you just like everybody else.
Yes, get in line. Raise your hand when you talk to yeah.
God forbid you should hold your pencil different than the rest of the kids. They will focus in on that one aspect of it. That's what happened with me.
Yeah. You have one of those special pencils?
No, I just hold my pen differently from other people. And I just remember a good part of my first 4 years at school was spent with various teachers trying to correct the way I held my damn pen. Like, this is how I hold it. You know?
So he holds it. Let him hold it. Jeez.
Like, what a waste of my time and your time. You know, not holding a pencil right. This feels comfortable.
Can you read what I'm writing? No, then good.
Shows you how brainwashed the teachers themselves are.
Yeah, I do remember having quite a few of those teachers that,
You think somebody would just come along and go, they said, well, you know, we tried to go over these words today, but this guy kept holding his pencil wrong. And somebody just said there, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make too much sense, though.
No. So, yeah, anything you want to remind yourself of, especially I don't know how much you listen to the alternative media, go ahead. You'll say it today, and then within the next 2 weeks you hear somebody else say it, but it won't quite be the same, but it'll at least trigger your memory. Because it's kind of like telephone. You know, by the time it gets regurgitated and rehashed through the multiple sequences of the alternative media, it'll be like a watered-down version of what you said here.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm used to that, but if, you know, I take if somebody wants to know what I say, they can hear it from my mouth on the website or whatnot, but, you know, they can say what they want. It doesn't bother me. I'm doing what I do for a reason, and I'm not doing it because, you know, I'm trying to get famous or sell a book or anything. I'm doing it, you know, because it's the right thing to do, so.
Well, I'll tell you something, you know, I have gifts in various areas, and this is one of the things that has allowed me to discover or uncover, whatever you want to call it, the things that I've come up with in my show. And it's because of how my mind works. Mm-hmm. Now, it's very different from yours in regards to where I am not good at faces. I'm horrible at it. When I talk to people, I don't really notice the details of their appearance. And actually, it's actually cost me a lot, especially in the romance department, because I will see people that I've run into on several occasions, and they'll start talking to me, and I don't know who they are.
Well, you know, it's funny because, you know, some people were like that, like myself when it comes to the face. Of course, I remember that. But when it comes to the name, I cannot remember names whatsoever. So, you know, there's different sides of the brain that work different ways. And I'm a very visual person, but it just happens to be that objects and faces lock in there for some reason. But, yeah, the names, you can say your name to me and I'll forget it in 2 minutes, but I'll remember the face forever. So, yeah, a lot of people can't realize expressions either. So I can understand that when it comes to facial recognition.
Yeah, see, once I get to know somebody, like when I talk to somebody, that's how I get to know them. When you talk to somebody, you start seeing like their own personality come through. But, you know, when you have all these superficial conversations in most public arrangements, you don't get to know somebody. So when I see somebody, even though, let's say I've spent a lot of time around them or talking to them or going to the same places as them, I've gotten to the point now where, especially back when I was going out a lot, I would just pretend to know somebody, whoever they were, when they came up and started talking to me. I just pretended that I recognized them, and just because I found if I didn't, most of the time it would just work against me because people get really angry when you don't know who they are.
Yeah. And
I can't say, well, that's because you must have not done anything to make yourself stand out. You know, that's individual. So rather than do that, I just go ahead and just pretend I know anybody who talks to me. And occasionally it'll backfire on me. When somebody will say, I'll be like, oh, wait a minute. They're like, are you sure you know me? And I'll be like, oh, wait, no. But see, that's less likely to happen where I pretend to know somebody and it turns out I actually don't know them than where I pretend to know somebody and eventually they do something or say something that make me realize that actually I have, in fact, met this person before.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, well, the reason I bring that up is not so I can just ramble on about a topic that I'm fascinated with, which is myself. It's because when I look at your work, a lot of times, I don't really see it a lot what you're pointing out. That's because of how I see it. So let's pick that up on the other side of the question. All right, we are back. I believe that was I just had to run back to the computer real quick. I believe that was a little insomnia going on there. Are you back with us, Ed?
I'm here.
All right. So what I was trying to say there, the point of me saying that is I'm just not really good at recognizing faces. Again, I recognize people through personality and certain mannerisms, more so than I do by facial features. So when I look at a lot of your work, sometimes I see it and sometimes I don't. But what I'm saying is, well, I'm not really good at recognizing faces anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like that. And I get a lot of people that say that to me. And the other thing that I also, maybe it's my fault too, is, I'm picking some of the photos out of, say, 40 or 50 photos I have of a person. And the reason why I pick a certain photograph is because that's, to me, my perception of that photo it proves its point, but to some other person it might not, and to some other person a different photo might when it doesn't to me. So that's something that it's a little bit difficult sometimes, but I that's why I'm available when people contact me and they ask me some questions. I'll send them over a bunch of photos and then they can see which one it makes sense to them and their perception. So
yeah, I'll say early on I learned another trait that makes people, not that this has anything to do with your work, but it's something else. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I could find, and people were kind of amazed at this, but I don't think it's that unusual where, we're all good at picking up certain things that, again, let's go back to the school example. Instead of all turning out the same where we recognize people through the same set of traits, there's other things that make people identifiable. One of the things I learned from you is the ears. One of the things I learned early on, I remember when I was in college, there was this huge field that they wouldn't allow to be developed that I would have to walk across. And one of my friends could be 100 yards down at the end of the field where I'm just starting to walk on it, and I could immediately tell who it was just by their gait, their walk.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely there's different characteristics that when they look at a person in general, they can form a whole profile of somebody when it comes to the biometrics, and that the gait is definitely one of them.
So, looking at your work, again, this is why I want you to present a lot of it here. I know we've got a lot of people listening. They're curious, and I've seen you've raised some controversy yourself. You are another controversial figure, and I know a lot of people don't see my work. Let me go back to that point because I've been looking at this for so long where I talk about what's going on via Hollywood, where if you interpret the symbols, you can kind of see that these people are basically admitting certain things to you, pederasty being one of those things. And people are like, well, you're reaching for this. I'm like, well, no, the information I look at, this is clear as day to me. So I'm sure you get a lot of that too, where, you're looking at these faces, day in, day out, you're doing all the work. Now, you're not going to put together a 12-hour video, which is, how long it may have taken you to arrive to a certain point, presenting that point.
Well, I mean, it depends on how important this person is that I really need to make my case. If it's one of the third or fourth tier type of person that's just in, I can see that person standing in this crowd and they're standing in this crowd and, sort of makes the point that they're an actor. That's just, one thing. But if it's a main character that's playing a major role, then of course, I'll spend some more time on that and I'll make sure that point is made. But a lot of the things that I do, it's not, I don't take the work and I don't make the work mine. It's not for me to say this is mine and nobody else has it. It's something that is out there for everyone to see. I mean, I found those photographs and that's one part of it, but those photographs is there for anybody to see. So it's not like, I've had something special handed to me. But the other thing is the science that goes with the ear recognition, it's available to anybody that wants to study it. And then when you start seeing these things, there's algorithms that are basically set up that, it's a scientific, repeatable process that you can do to prove this. So it's not like I have, an opinion or, I'm saying, oh, this person looks like that person. And the other thing is that I'm not just pulling these people out at random. There's a thing online that people say they're lookalikes. Well, I mean, yeah, they do look alike, but I'm not randomly picking somebody out of a crowd and saying, they look like this person or they look like that person. The people that I'm saying that they look like all have this underlying connection, and they all happen to be like from Pima County, and they all are actors, or some of them are in the sheriff's department or in Sheriff Dupnick's books. So there's a common connection that I'm going through when, say, the Casey Anthony trial. All the people that were involved in that trial, you can find them all in the Pima County Sheriff Dupnick's book. Now, that then breaks down the fact that, people will say, oh, it's a coincidence. They just happen to look alike. Well, no, they don't just happen to look alike. When 4 of them are standing there in a courtroom and then 4 of them are in the same picture inside of one book, you're throwing, coincidence out the window. So a lot of times people, when they see a part of what I do and maybe they watch 1 or 2 videos and they haven't seen the rest of it, they jump on me because they don't know the history about the whole case. And, that's understandable. So I try to make sure that, I explain myself that way, and I try to help them say, that's why I make my videos short, and, just basically get you the facts, and that's about it, without going into the whole story and rehashing it each time. So it's a catch-22 type of thing.
Well, I'll say this, out of the faces that I could definitely see and know that here's one that I think you nailed right spot on, is the tattoo shop owner who apparently gave Casey her tattoo.
Yes.
Okay? That is that guy that you showed from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. That is him. No doubt in my mind on that one. I could clearly see that one.
And that's Kenny Bloomberg.
And the interesting point about that is, okay, let's just say that I, having come across your work, don't see some of the other information you present. Let's say it's the Casey Anthony case, right? Let's just say that I don't see it. Well, I can't dismiss that one point. So even if you're, let's just say, I'm just saying this, I'm not saying that you are, I'm just saying, even if you're wrong about everything else on that, you can't dismiss that one point. Why is this actor from Arizona County Sheriff's Department showing up as a tattoo shop owner in Orlando?
And why is he a family member in the Greenbergs? Why is he involved in this with other family members that are showing up in the same event and in the same Pima County books, and then you see them in their family photographs all together, and they're going as Bloombergs. Yeah, and here's the other thing that I want people to remember, that it only takes one of the people per event to be right. I don't have to be right about them all, even though I do believe that I am, but I only have to be right about one individual in each of those events to show that there is a problem here that needs to be looked into. And depending upon who that person is, it could be a big problem or just a, hey, what's going on here problem.
Yeah, I mean, whatever people, maybe they're forming their own opinions about the whole Casey Anthony case, which, again, it's a very interesting idea that maybe all of it was made up. But you just have to ask that one question. Why is this guy being interviewed as the person that gave her tattoo when he doesn't even live in the state of Florida?
Well, actually, he does live in Florida.
He does?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Well, I believe they do from their personal photographs. They do live there, and but that that could be a second home or third home. Who knows? Oh. But
well, there are studios here in Orlando.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where some of them live, and I've been down to those studios. So those back lots. And, a lot of these things, when you do see what they can do with movies and technologies and green screens, a lot of the stuff then becomes totally relevant and very, very doable. It's not that big of a stretch of imagination to understand that these events that you see that are the occupied events, and now I'm not saying all of it, I'm saying the focal events, like the ones that have violence in them or the confrontations, could have been shot with green screen in the background. So, it's very possible.
There was a video I posted one time on one of my postings on one of my blogs, and it was something that got passed along to me, and it shows you how effective the green screen technology is and what they can do with it, where you just have to ask at the end of that, it's like, well, how much of what I'm seeing, is real? Because that's what I'll be using, although I want to get to that later. One of the things I do want to point out early on here is I did see one of your videos that made me laugh. It was the one where you show the calipers you use. I'm not sure exactly what that device is. And now people were saying that this was obviously Freemasonic symbolism, so you must be a Freemason and one of, quote-unquote, them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a golden mean scale. It's basically a Fibonacci scale, a ratio of 1 to 1.618, which is the golden rectangle. The Romans used it with all their architecture. Your face, your body, all living things are basically based on this calculation. And if you know where the eyes are on the face, then you can calculate where everything else is supposed to be on the face per this equation, and that's just the way it is. So this is a ruler basically that you can lay on the face, and you can measure the different points and see if things are real or not, or they match up. And a lot of times I would use that when it came to the Pima County books, because there's a good portion of the people that are in there that if you watch my one video and you can see that they've taken facial parts of the face, like the eyes and the chin, and they'll match it with another person. They'll take the ears and the cheeks, and they'll put it together and make a new person, a totally fake person. And I can sit there and you can look at the video, and I do about 30 or 40 of these people right there in a row, just one after the other, and you can see them side by side. They look exactly alike. Each parts are certain shared parts. So you can tell when it's a computer-generated person.
You're starting to break up just again, just a little bit. Sure, during the break, you might want to check your connection, or we're not always going to assume the worst, that it's the quote unquote Illuminati trying to interfere with a broadcast.
Yeah, it's probably my connection. But yeah.
So go ahead.
But the calipers.
Oh, you're breaking up again.
The calipers or the compass, they're images. How about now?
Okay, now you're good. Repeat what you just said earlier.
Okay, the calipers or the scale, I use that to find faces that are basically computer generated, because a lot of times the artist will make mistakes and the eyes will be slightly out of proportion or in the wrong place in the head. So you can use that to eliminate.
Oh, I've talked with this former intelligence officer recently, and he was telling me that he learned that apparently there are 30 facial characteristics that people have. So odds are that there is someone in the world that looks a lot like you, if not several people, because the number of facial features is limited.
Well, there's 39 landmarks on the face, and a landmark is a spot on the face that's not a soft tissue spot. And what I mean by soft tissue is if you get fat or you're skinny or have a disease, your skin and your face will change, but these landmarks won't. They'll stay in the same spot. So the facial recognition, yes, there are people that can look like you, similar to you, but nobody has the same ear as you. So there's two different types of scientific formulas that you use. The face is one, and then if you're fortunate enough to get a good shot of the ear, then that's what you use, the ear, because that's definitely more reliable than a face.
Which again, it goes back to what you're saying. You're saying, I'm not just saying, look, these people look alike. What I'm doing is I'm proving that these people are the same person using a scientific means. And because I have this symbol on my site, it doesn't mean that I'm a disinfo agent working for the Freemasonic order.
Yeah.
And even if you were a Freemason, I mean, what would that say? So what?
I mean, but the whole thing is, I ask people, they say, well, you're an agent. And I'm like, okay, well, explain to me how I'm supposed to be benefiting when I'm the one that turns down the book deals and turns down the video deals and not making any money from it. So tell me where I'm an agent, because I'm curious about that. So, like I said, they can call me what they want. I have thick skin, but, I'm not doing this to get famous or to to be quiet about it. I'm actually putting my neck out there on the line and saying what I believe and showing what I believe.
Well, I have received a few people email me or commenting via other means that I should not bring you on. You're obviously a disinfo agent, and I'm crazy for bringing you on. I really don't bring on that many guests on this show, other than people I know fairly well. But I'll say this, that alone, just people telling me that, made me more curious, and because I know, speaking personally here, of other hosts that have gotten the same reaction when they've announced that they were going to have me on.
Yeah. The New York Times did a hit piece on me not too long ago, and they didn't call me or ask me any questions. They just did this piece, and I happened to find out about it the next day. And when I read it, it was a bunch of crap. But it was funny because they tried their hardest to make me look like a crazy person, and it backfired on them, because the crazier they made me look, the more people came to my website. And when they did that, they stayed there and they became subscribers, and they contacted me and were just amazed at what they found. So now the New York Times won't even talk to me. So.
Well, that's a crying shame if the New York Times won't talk to you. Considering that if you go back to a movie that came out, what was it? Back in the 70s, Robert Redford. It's the one where he plays the CIA book reader.
Oh.
I can't remember the name.
I see it in my head, but.
Yeah, he plays the CIA. It's this whole CIA mystery. And, they don't, look, movies aren't there to educate you about the world around you. So there's a lot of propaganda and disinfo in this movie. But the subtle things is where they basically point out the obvious to anybody who's awake enough or just in on the joke.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one scene at the end where he thinks they can't kill him now, or he's afraid they're going to kill him, but he goes, "It's too late for you guys." And they're going, "Why?" He goes, "Because I've turned in the entire file." And it shows him standing in front of the New York Times building. And the agent looking at him looks at him, and he just kind of like, it's not overt, it's very subtle. He just kind of like looks up at the New York Times building and just kind of smirks. It's like, don't you realize we own that too?
Yeah.
Oh, you're safe now.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You think about the WikiLeaks thing, and like they hand over all the information to New York Times first. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a joke.
Oh yeah, the WikiLeaks thing is just a huge joke. I can't believe there are people out there, especially in this alternative media, that were actually citing it as a source. This is on WikiLeaks. I'm like, okay, well, WikiLeaks comes out. They put out some decent info at first. You got to remember, everything's got to start off good. Otherwise, you're not going to gain any traction.
Absolutely. Sure.
And as soon as they establish themselves as some source and everybody plays them up like, the mainstream media comes out going, "Ooh, WikiLeaks is evil. We need more internet controls because of this," right?
Yeah.
Then what do? They start releasing all this pro-Israel propaganda.
Mm-hmm. And then you got Adrian there, he's over there and he's saying that I have all these files, but I'm only going to release half of them because, I want you to absorb them, fully. So if you have files that you say can bring down a bank or bring down a system, bring down a country, do you really think that you release half of them and then sit back while, they're going to hunt you down and put a bullet in you because they're afraid you're going to release the second half?
Yeah.
You put it all out there and you say, I don't have any more.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm done.
I'm out of there. So yeah, I mean, it's so funny. And then you see the WikiLeaks truck riding around during.
That's what I was going to comment on. Yeah. What the fool?
That's Soros. The whole thing about WikiLeaks started. The URL was owned on a Soros server. And then all of a sudden, he switched it over to somebody else's server. But that's the way it started. So, I mean, to see that WikiLeaks thing, that's just a slap in our face, too. It's just funny.
That was it. I couldn't believe it. I thought somebody actually had photoshopped it. When I saw the pictures of the WikiLeaks truck from the Occupy New York or Occupy Wall Street, I'm like, are you kidding me?
That was my first thought, too, and I really had to go through it. And then I found the video of the truck, and I was like, okay, I can...
Yeah, because it's so blatant. It's like such a... they're basically like flinging their poo in your face and going like, you're stupid.
Yeah. Well, look at this last one, this last video I just did, where it's Maurice Strong. I mean, and now Maurice Strong... it's totally Maurice Strong. There's no way you can say it's not. But if Maurice Strong is who Maurice Strong is supposed to be, I don't know. I'm looking. Wikipedia shows us a picture of Maurice Strong, and he matches the person who I've said is Maurice Strong, but we don't know if that person is who they say. But anyway, this person says that they were a passenger on the flight during the underwear bomber now, and I'm like, and it's Maurice Strong. So I mean, they do They just slap us in our face, and, they're just seeing if we're paying attention. I
think so. I definitely want to get to that as the show progresses. Well, I'll say this. You must be doing something right. That's why you're on my show today. If you're upsetting this many people, if you got so many people calling you a disinfo agent, then you must be doing something right, and that's where I went ahead and brought you onto the show, because it seems to me that the people that are agents or in this movement,
they get free rides.
This is not, I'm just saying I validate thee, but I'm saying the people that are, nobody talks about.
Yeah, well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think I'm hitting them pretty hard, a lot of these people, and they're trying to send me all these friends requests, and I just happen to catch a couple of them that were these people that I've been talking about, and happen to be sending me some requests on YouTube today, and I've made a little video about it to show people. But yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be doing that for no reason.
I'll say this: one of the things that convinced me that I was also safe in bringing you on is the hit piece from Anonymous against you.
Oh yeah, well, I think that was just somebody playing a joke, because it doesn't even fit the format of what the other Anonymouses are, or the same voice. So I don't know. I just Anonymous. just to is crap anyway. I mean,
I think it's another pro Mossad or pro ADL front. That's from what I see. From if you pay attention to what they put out, again, it seems to favor certain agendas, and of course, they always start off like we're doing something good, and now what do you see? All these damn protesters out there wearing V for Vendetta masks. Like, really? Yeah. Wow, you guys really are awake. You're really awake. You're emulating some Hollywood piece of crap film.
Yeah. Hey, try starting up a website where you're selling some knockoff Gucci bags and see how long that site stays up there. Before they pull it. But you can put a website up there talking about taking down the government, and it's going to stay up there. Sure.
That's right. And it's amazing. Somebody showed me that a lot of these sites that are run by these anonymous also feature, again, speculative pornography or videos featuring, underage persons, right?
Really? I didn't even. I've only been to that one, the anonymous site. I guess I thought it was the main site, but I didn't see anything on there. But hey, I'm sure they have plenty of since they're anonymous, anybody can be anonymous.
Yeah. So apparently, that's what they're into, taking down the government and showing nude photos of underage women and ruining their lives by publishing their personal details on the internet. Totally works. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty credible.
And,
then they attack me,
and it's amazing how such sites never get taken down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because they can't find them because they're anonymous.
Yeah.
As if there's any type of what am I? It's the word I'm looking for. It's hungover. Anonymity. There we go. Anonymous. Anonymity. There we go. Why was that so hard?
People need to understand that on the web. Yeah, there's none of that.
On the internet.
None of that. If you don't want it to be on anybody else's machine or known to anybody else, don't put it on a computer. Period.
Yeah. Don't hook up to the internet. They'll know who you are.
Exactly. Yeah, I've done a lot of studies on that when I was in the military, and the characteristics that they can pull that are free from your you're being logged onto a website, and that's just being cookies and things like that they can sniff out, and they can put together a profile. And the main thing that they look at are the fonts, because when you get a new machine, what's the first thing you do? You put all your applications on it that you use, and you usually use different applications than another person does. So those characteristics of the fonts that are loaded up with those applications, they can build a profile of you, and they can narrow it down between it's like a 92% positive of identifying you from the free stuff or the stuff that's readily available from you surfing.
Or with the applications you normally load. Yeah, I could see I probably have a very distinct internet footprint.
Yeah, yep.
All right, we'll be right back, and I've got some tough questions for you, Ed, on the other side, so yeah, be ready. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are listening to the Rebel Path. Welcome. I am the Celtic Rebel. Today, my guest in the top secret bunker located somewhere between Belfast and Shanghai is DallasGoldBug. And we're going to get into his work, some of the details behind it this hour, and the rest of the show. We've got ways to go. But first, I promised people I'd have to put Ed's feet to the fire. Are you ready, Ed?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second here. They tell me that you have been accused of working for Dick Cheney at Halliburton.
That is correct. That was my first corporate job when I was 24 years old. I worked for Landmark Graphics, which is at that time was a subsidiary of Halliburton, but now it's fully owned and they just absorbed them. But I used to do I was a web creative manager, redesign the website for them and design Halliburton's website. And I worked for corporate communications for about a year.
So you admit you're a member of the Illuminati?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I got kicked out after a year.
Somebody had pointed that out to me, that you worked for Halliburton, and I'm like, yeah, that's so what? Look,
yeah.
If you're going to get a job, especially as a young person in America after you get out of school, you're going to work for the Illuminati. You don't have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and at that time, well, how about this one? When I was, let's say, 14, I worked for Burger King, so I guess I'm, a Monsanto's lover too. So, hey, but yeah, I worked for Halliburton at that time. I really didn't know too much about Halliburton. That was when I first moved to Houston, and I worked for them for about a year, and then I got headhunted into Ashford.com. But it was good. It was good. a good place to work.
I've actually had, I remember a long time ago when I was doing this, when I first started my radio, there was a lot of info circulating about whether I was one of the Illuminati, because I had worked for one of the Rothschild companies, which I obviously can't name on the air. Now, the reason I can't name it on the air is because I was working as a consultant, so I signed confidentiality agreements with all these companies I worked for. But I'll say this, if I was to go over my list of companies that I work for, they're all evil, but there's not a non-evil corporation. I mean, you could Sara Lee, Colgate-Palmolive. They're all involved in all sorts of destructive, anti-human, anti-goodness. I mean, there's every corporation out there is part of the system. It's not like there's a huge corporation out there you can work for that's not.
Well, I mean, if you've ever seen a documentary called The Corporation, it's a Canadian group did that. I mean, it's a really eye-opening, look at what corporations actually are and who they're beholden to, and it's profit over anything.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, I think I hear the music starting up. This is a short segment, and we'll pick it up on the other side of the break. All right. Welcome back. Oh, I think I may have dropped Ed. Let me try to bring him back on here. All right. Let me, hold on, Ed. Let me bring you back on here. Okay.
Hey.
All right. Yeah, I have to drag you back in.
Okay.
Okay. So, did you sort out your internet thing?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go ahead and stab the agent that was sitting outside your backyard?
The Illuminati said I'm allowed to.
Speaking of that, I just remember one time I was listening to someone in this form of medium, and they were talking about how their hard drive crashed and they lost all their data and research because the Illuminati got to them because they were going to reveal something major. And I'm like, are you sure it wasn't because you use maybe because you're using Windows? Let's forget the most plausible explanation, right?
Yeah.
Or that hard drives actually fail sometimes, which
Yeah. I used to basically be a tech, basically a consultant for internet consulting, and I used to do web development, of course. But I've had lots of hard drives crash, and I've only lost information on one hard drive, and that was because of a really bad virus that I couldn't beat. But I've never lost all my information because of it. It's always on there. So
yeah, I mean, and look,
tricks to it.
I've worked in computers. I have a system here. Basically, I'm not going to give away all my information, but yeah, if there's anything on one hard drive, I guarantee you there's another hard drive somewhere in my system that's basically is a complete mirror of that other drive. Hard drives will fail sometimes.
Yes, definitely. And that's the other thing. All these photographs, people were like, are you backing your stuff up? And oh yeah, believe me, I back up many times and off-site backups too. No,
I'm just going to have faith in Windows, and that the Illuminati won't leave me alone for the time being.
Yeah.
I think you passed the test there. You passed the Illuminati test. For now.
Ooh, is that the toughest one we got? Come on. You can do better than that.
I was saying before the break that, I was getting some flack about corporations I used to work for. And again, I can't mention their names because of confidentiality agreements. Yeah. But one of the ones I was working for, I was to recently learn, I was working for them right before 9/11, was one of the companies that made a lot of money off of this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and look, I didn't know anything about that. I just show up, got a check once in a while, and of course, where I tell you where they were located, and that, I'm sure here I am putting out some propaganda about myself out there so people can jump on it. Yes.
Yeah.
I coincidentally ended my contract 3 weeks before 9/11.
Really? So you're in on it then, huh?
Obviously, I didn't. Otherwise I might have been there across the street from the buildings when they came down.
So who called you up and told you?
The Illuminati.
Yeah, I got the call too.
So I'm sure somebody could build a case in that. Look, he worked for this company and this company, and he cut his contract right before the towers came down.
People, that's one thing that, you listen to people and they all they do is they repeat things that they see on the TV or they hear on the internet, and they'll swear to you up and down that they didn't get that information there. They got it from somebody else. But, it's very difficult for people to find really good information and actually understand that what is factual and what is hearsay. And a lot of people just don't really understand that, those differences between the information. And I try to explain that to people, and I say, look, the things that I do are things that I can take to court and I can use to build a case to get a grand jury indictment or things like that. They're not hearsay. It's not, because somebody's mother works with their friend and told me so. That doesn't mean anything to me. And even if somebody tells me that they are that person over the phone, that doesn't mean anything to me either. I can't prove it. So, people have to really understand that what they see online and what they're shown on TV is a good chance it's not really correct, or it's been put out there just to disinform you and put you on a different path, or the wrong path.
I think that's what a lot of this alternative media was designed to do. Absolutely.
I'll agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Let's get into your work somewhat, but one more thing I want to say before we do is I've been talking about some of this for a while, not the personages behind it, but that you don't need I don't need Ed Chiarini to tell me that the news is fake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you do is different, but I'm saying for any of us out there, for any of you listening, you don't need to hear us right now to realize the news is fake, because it should be obvious to you that by now that a lot of the news you are receiving is completely made up and scripted. Just
Correct.
Based on just common sense and how blatantly they misrepresent certain stories that they put out there and how fake they seem.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, you ever switch between channels while you're watching the news, and one channel has the same story on as the other channel does at the same time? I mean, what are the odds of that? What are they just, I mean, they're all given the same stories to work with. They all have, they call it pickle packs or whatever, and they're given the script and the clips to go with it, and they're supposed to just read off the script, and that's the story.
Wait, so they call them pickle packs?
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that rumor. I don't know. I had a friend that worked in that industry and said, yeah, it's like a pickle pack or a package that they send them, and they look at it and they have to read the script with their reporters, and they already have the clips already done. They're handed the clips and they just put it in there, and that's what they do. So that's why everybody shows the same clips on all the stations.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, because I find that a lot of the people, again, it's not like people don't understand. It's not a very large conspiracy. It's a very small conspiracy. But the system is so fine-tuned to rework. Again, it takes very little influencing there. But so it doesn't surprise me that it would be called a pickle pack, because that speaks right to the whole gay subculture and undertones that I address in my show.
Yeah.
I mean, why else would you call something a pickle pack in the news industry?
I have no idea, but yeah, I mean, there's video of the president saying that they use those packages of information. They'll hand them out to the news bureaus, and he says that everybody uses them. I mean, it's a video of him standing there saying that, yeah, everybody uses those things, and I don't understand why people don't realize it. I mean, this is the president saying it. So, yeah, I mean, it should be obvious to people, but obviously it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
I've brought up a couple of examples before, but quite a few, but two that stand out right now where people just should just be like, okay, we're obviously being lied to. There's one image that was presented by the Associated Press of Marines engaged in some battle in somewhere in Iraq or Afghanistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it shows like all these soldiers, and they're trying to climb the sand berm, and there's a whole behind them there's a whole line of what do you call them, sandbags, right? And they're all ducking under the sandbags, etc. And there's one guy standing in like somewhere near the middle of the background of the picture, right? And he's standing up, looking totally the opposite way of where the fire is allegedly coming from, standing over the barrier that all the other Marines are, squatted down under and shooting.
Yeah. I always tell people, where's the cameraman standing? And if the cameraman's standing up and there's bullets flying at them, it's fake. It's fake. The cameraman's going to duck for cover the same way everybody else does. And if that camera's not shooting from, the grass, and you see grass in front of it, then it's not real. And, you see the scenes of the Marine, and they're just letting loose with the machine gun, and the cameraman standing right behind them, standing up and just, got the shot of him shooting this machine gun. Well, if he's doing that, then it's not real. It's set up, because the cameraman's not going to stand there and be shot at. He's just not going to. So people just need to use common sense, but they don't. I mean,
no, they
look
don't.
at the Occupy movements. Now we have these tear gas scenes. And if anybody out there has been to the military, we've had training in tear gas. We know what tear gas feels like, and we know how bad it hurts and, what it does to you. And even if you just get a little bit of it by you, it soaks through the skin if your skin's wet. And these individuals you just see with handkerchiefs on their face, I mean, come on. And they're just laughing and they're having a good time there because it's a set. It's a joke. And I know... I'm sorry.
That's actually a good point about where's the advantage of the camera when this shot was taken.
That's actually something that I've been noticing in these Occupy movements, where a lot of the things that we're seeing were the same, say it was the same street, the same event on that street, but they have multiple cameramen that are placed throughout the street, so they can show you a perspective, a close-up perspective of two people fighting on that street, and then show you the next night the same shot, the same street, but a different cameraman on different people, and say it's another night. You know, so they separate it and they can break it up. That one incident that they can just film and then put in a can, they can make 3 or 4 different nights out of it. So you're seeing this intermingled with the live footage of people that are actually down at these locations that are putting stuff up on YouTube, and then you'll see that night's, a piece that's already been shot, and there's those same actors, the same cameraman, Brandon Pittman, and all that are in those same shots again. So they're really, the perception management, they're really good at doing it, and the thing that I was trying to do with the military people is, clue them into, hey, do you remember the tear gas? So you know this is fake because when you see that tear gas and you know what it's like, now you know it's fake. And all of a sudden their eyes go, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. And it clicks to them. So that's all you really have to do is point out a couple of these things to certain people, and then all of a sudden it clicks. And it's so obvious that it's very easy to show them the fakeness about it.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find that shot that I mentioned right there, of the shot, to put it in the chat room in a second, probably during the break. But, yeah, when I see something like that, it seems to me like they're just saying, like, go F yourself.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care. They're just like, we know you're stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's part of the... They like to mock and laugh and ridicule the common people, the plebeians, us. I think that's why they called us peons back in the old days, because they could literally, back then when, we were a little more subservient, because when the system wasn't so hidden from us, they could literally just walk by and piss on us.
Yeah. Or throw it out their windows of their mansions on everybody else that's on the street. Yeah.
And that's why, that expression, that is where the expression pissed on and pissed off comes off.
I believe it.
When you get pissed on, you get pissed off.
And then you look at the names that they use. They purposely make those names just to mess with us.
I wanted to get that a bit later. I got a couple of things I want to cite from that, but I want to get into some of your work here. One of the other things I wanted to bring up first is this another example for the people out there listening. Just something that's so blatantly fake. I remember there was I was listening to somebody else's show, and they were talking about what's going on down in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's someone in their chat room trying to convince everybody that what's going on over across the Mexican border is, hell on earth, etc. The drug gangs are out of control. They're killing all sorts of people, etc., right? And I'm not saying this is or isn't happening, but this guy was really determined to convince hopefully, I guess, trying to get the host to tune into the proof he was giving, because I guess he didn't feel like he was addressing it.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody, I think it was me, asked him, like, do you have any proof that this is actually happening? And this person posted an image of a guy who was dead in a ditch, and next to him there was a dead chihuahua. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, so that's what's supposed to convince me that this took place in Mexico. Because if the chihuahuas wasn't there, you'd be like, this could be anywhere.
Texas, yeah.
This could be in Canada. Well, no, he's got a chihuahua,
Yeah. That's funny, yeah.
And I pointed that out. The guy goes, well, they also shoot their dogs. I'm like, well, how convenient that a Mexican has a chihuahua then. I mean, if you had a dead German Shepherd laying next to me, you'd be like, oh, this was obviously in Berlin.
Yeah. It's a Doberman Pinscher. He's a German. What are you talking about?
That's a Rottweiler. That's in Hungary. I'm guessing.
He's poodle with French. Yeah, I know.
But, I've done shows on neuro-linguistic programming, and they know that's going to work, because the average idiot out there, when they look at that picture, they're going to look at the dead guy in the ditch, which looks like he's got darker skin, right? and assume he's dead, assuming the guy is even dead to begin with. The dog most likely is dead because dogs aren't as good at faking their deaths, and like they care about killing some random chihuahua. And yeah, they know that when the average moron looks at that picture, they're going to go, "Yo quiero Taco Bell, Mexico."
Yeah.
Boom.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the